Welcome everybody, Brother Dan Goodwin here, your host on today's program for Prosperity News, and I am tickled to death to be here. And we love Prosperity News, and they've asked me to come and share with you for a few weeks about my new book, The 7 Clocks A-Ticking, and just hot off the press just a few weeks ago. And Prosperity News has them right here in the showroom in the back there. All you got to do is call the number on your screen, or go to the website prosperynews.com and you can order the book. But we're going to tell you on today's program, you don't want to turn the dial. You don't want to leave. I'm telling you, I'm going to share some exciting things that are in the new book that you're going to want to know about. I'll tell you, I've written several books. You know, God's Final Jubilee, The Mystery of the Jubilee, The Barley Harvest, The Revelation. I say this with all honesty. I believe this is the most important book I've ever written. It's the most alarming, the most up-to-date. 7 clocks a-ticking, all pointing towards Christ's soon return. Now, we're not date setters here. I've never been a date setter. I have some dates in my mind, but I'm not a date setter, and I'm not gonna be foolish enough to tell you we ought to set a date. I'm a season setter. I believe we're in the last days. I believe we're in the last of the last days. I believe the Lord's coming soon, and I believe we need to prepare for that. And I believe we need to. It isn't about sitting on your porch or in your rocking chair waiting for the trumpet to sound. I believe it's kind of like a race car driver on the track. He's in the Indianapolis 500, and he's in that hot car, and he's sweating, and he's gone 489 laps, and he's in third place, and the two leaders are just ahead of him, and he's going around the track, and he gets word. All of a sudden he sees that flag that lets him know there's one lap left. What's that guy do? He pulls over for a pit stop, right, to get some more fuel or to have his tires checked. Not on your life, buddy. I don't care if the car's shaking. I don't care if he's running on fumes. What does he do for that last lap? He puts the pedal all the way to the metal, and he gives it everything he's got, because what's the goal? The goal is to get to the finish line ahead of everybody else. That may be a crude illustration, but it's kind of what we're talking about. When you see that flag that says, "Hey, time is almost up. Jesus is coming soon." When you know that, it should move you to action. It should encourage you to do something. Not go sit on your rocking chair or sit on the porch and wait for the sky to open and the trumpet to sound. No, it ought to move you to realize, my goodness, I got to get my mom saved. I got to get my dad. I got to talk to my dad or my children. Maybe you got a child that's not saved. Maybe grandchildren. How about brothers and sisters and neighbors and people at work? That's what this is about. It's about pulling out all the stops and getting busy for the Lord before that trumpet sounds. That's what the goal of my book is. 7 clocks ticking. When you read these 7 clocks and you realize, when you put all these clocks together, they're all pointing to the same thing. They're all pointing to the fact that we're out of here pretty soon. And we're not date setters. I don't know the day or hour that he's coming, and neither does anybody else, by the way. But I do know that I can see the horizon. I can see the smoke on the horizon. I can see the white flag. I can see the flag that they wave, letting me know there's one lap left. I can see what's going on in the world around me. I can see the mark of the beast is ready. I can see the one world order is here, and the one world religious system is here. I can see the cashless society is here right now. We're already in it. I can see all these things, and it makes me realize we're almost out of here. Let me, if I could, let me read for you the back cover of the book. The back cover of the book says this: "The condition of the world today is like the folks on the Titanic, eating and drinking and being merry, unaware that time is running out and doom is just hours away." Remember the story of the Titanic? They hit the iceberg. Realized that right before they hit the iceberg, nobody on that ship imagined that doom was just a few hours away. They all thought they had the rest of their life. They were on the safest, most reliable ship ever built. Everyone said this ship can't be sunk. And they were sure of it. But I got news for you. They hit that iceberg, and the Titanic began to sink. But they had no idea, as they partied and as they ate, drank, and whatever they did on that ship, They had no idea that just lurking beneath the water was an iceberg that was going to be their doom. Like those on the Titanic, humanity is unaware of the judgment soon to be released. The hour is late. There are 7 clocks all ticking towards midnight, and everything is about to change. This is not just a book about prophecy. It's a book that reveals the warning signs pointing towards the end times. I call them ticking clocks. The 7 clocks are sounding an alarm today. They're sounding an alarm of impending doom and are speeding towards a season of great tribulation upon the earth, a time of suffering and sorrow like the world has never seen. Today, it is 5 minutes to midnight. Time is running out. Everything is getting ready to change. And very few are aware that a horrific storm is about to rock the planet. But I want to tell you today, there's one guy right here that knows it's coming. And I'm not the only one. But I want you to know, my friend, there's a storm coming. And there are warning signs. You know, God never does anything without putting up some warning signs. Now, He hasn't told us the day He's coming or the hour He's coming, but my friend, He has told us, watch. And I'm telling you, there's some clocks that are ticking. And those clocks, as you'll see when you read the book, those clocks are pointing right now at 5 minutes to midnight. All 7 of these clocks are pointing to the same end-time event. And they're all pointing to the fact that time is running out. And my friend, it is. I want to share with you a little bit about the book. By the way, in the introduction of the book, you may laugh at this, but I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. You may not realize this. The Lord of the Rings is the most prophetic movie I've ever watched in my life. You know, it's about 11 hours long. If you watch all 3 in the extended versions, it's over 11 hours long. Let me say this about Lord of the Rings. There's not one cuss word in all 11 hours. You find any movie today that don't have a cuss word in it. Good luck with that. Not one cuss word, not one immodest scene in all 11 hours. I know now you don't want to watch it, right? Let me tell you something. Most prophetic movie I've ever watched. You know, it's about a ring that was created, and the ring is the bad guy, which represents Satan and the Antichrist. He's got a ring, one ring to rule them all. And of course, Frodo winds up with the ring, and they're trying to destroy the ring. That's what the movie's about. And of course, at the end of the movie, it's Armageddon. And he throws the ring into the fire there, and the ring's destroyed, and that's the end. And at the end of the movie there, you got Frodo and Sam sitting on a rock, and the lava's coming. They're getting ready to die. This was a suicide mission. They're going to die. And you remember what he said? Remember what Frodo leans over, and this is in the book here. There's actually a picture here of Frodo standing in Mount Doom, throwing the ring in. And here's what Frodo says to Sam. He says, "I'm glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee, here at the end of all things." Now, if you've known me very long, and many of you follow me on my God's Final Jubilee program on YouTube, many of you follow me on Facebook, and if you've heard me preach, or you heard me at a prophecy conference, or you've watched my YouTube program, I promise you've heard me say this. Now, I always say it a little wrong. I always say this: here we are at the end of all things. Where did I get that? I got that from right here, because that's what he said. He leans over and he says to Sam, here we are at the end of all things. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the last generation. Here we are at the end of all things. We're waiting on that trumpet to sound, and it's going to sound, my friend. The Lord is coming back. And He's coming back. I know there's been a lot of date setters, and over the years, people He said that He's coming this year, and He didn't come. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I don't think we ought to be saying what year He's coming. I don't think we ought to be setting dates. But let me tell you something. Regardless of the false date setters, He is coming. You want to know when He's coming? Anybody want to know? I know when He's coming. You know when He's coming? He's coming at the day appointed. That's right. It's already been decided. It was decided before the foundation of the earth. I believe God created our universe inside of a 6,000-year time and space, 7,000 actually, if you count the kingdom age. It was set in stone before he created the earth, before he created our universe. We were going to be here 6,000 years and then the end. And then the millennial kingdom would be set up. And that's in the book, and I'll get to that shortly here. But let me share with you the preface here in the book. The book is in two parts. Now this will help you. Part 1 is the 7 jewels of prophecy. By the way, 218 pages. Part 1 is only 60 pages. It's the shorter part of the book. But don't skip it. Don't skip part 1 because there's some jewels there that you need. In fact, I got a quote from the late Matthew Henry way back. Matthew Henry said it best. He said it this way: the Revelation is the last book, as Revelation is the last book of the New Testament, and the prophetical books of the Old Testament are placed last, many run themselves into confusion by beginning their Bible at the wrong end. Listen, you wouldn't start reading the Bible at Revelation, would you? No, you start at Genesis. By the way, you want to know how it all ends? Go back to the beginning. Isaiah 46:10 says, he telleth the end from the beginning. You want to know about the end time? Go back to the beginning. Go back to the 6 days of the creative week, Genesis chapter 1, and you'll learn that the earth's going to be 6,000 years. Isn't that simple? Now we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself, but so the preface here. Don't skip the beginning of the book. I know what you're going to. You're like me. You want to find the good parts. I got to get to them ticking clock. You're going to miss something. You're going to miss some stuff you need to understand what's coming at the second part of the book. In part 1, I call it the 7 jewels of prophecy. This part explains some basic concepts of prophecy as likened to the inner components of a clock. Some of you old-timers out there, and by the way, most prophecy people are old people. I get more phone calls at home about prophecy and about the books. I have almost no teenagers call me. Very few 25-year-olds call me. Not very many 30-year-old people call me. I get calls from 70 and 80-year-old people because that's who's following prophecy. Them young people, my daughter just got married a few weeks ago. She's not looking for the rapture. She's in marital bliss now. Hey, I was there once, but when I was a young teenager, we didn't want the world to end. We wanted to get married, right? And nothing wrong with that. But, but older people want out of here. We've been here long enough. We want out of this place, right? So part 1, this part explains some basic concepts of prophecy as likened to the inner components of a clock. Oh, what I was getting ready to say, old people understand the old time watch. Remember the old watches, the old pocket watches, the railroad watches? Remember they would be 17 joule or 21 joule. Remember the more jewels, the more expensive the watch was? That's because the jewels inside the watch are expensive. And a watch guy will tell you the most important part of the watch for dependability and accuracy is the jewels in there. And so we use that as a take on the book here. There's some jewels of prophecy that you need to understand that will help you understand the deeper stuff. If you don't get those foundational things, you'll miss those things, the deeper things later on. So I'm telling you, don't skip part 1, okay? Or I will come back and haunt you. A timepiece is made of mainsprings and crowns and hands. However, a wise repairman knows that the jewels inside the watch are what determines both accuracy and dependability. So understanding basic prophetic concepts or biblical jewels will aid us and provide a firm foundation for discerning the accuracy of end-time events. Part 2 is the part we're all excited about and the part that you're going to want to hurry and get to. Here's what part 2 is about. Part 2, end-time study, is the process of revealing God's mysteries, the most exciting of which is the timing of His return and His righteous judgment. Thankfully, revelation of the Word points to perfectly orchestrated timeline, which I found to be in the form of clocks, 7 of them. All are ticking down and demonstrate His loving promise and purpose for us. This book is written to help you apply the jewels of prophecy to these ticking clocks. It is my hope that using this book as a guide, you will understand the lateness of the hour in which we live and prepare yourself and your loved ones and your friends and your neighbors for His soon return. Listen, don't go alone. Don't go to heaven alone. There's a song that haunts me. It's called Must I Go and Empty-Handed. And the song goes, Must I go and empty-handed, thus my Redeemer meet? Not one soul with which to greet him ought to lay at Jesus' feet. In other words, saved, but don't get anybody else saved, and you go by yourself. That'd be a sad day for you, my friend. Get some people saved. Get your loved ones saved. Get your friends saved. Get some people on the bus with you to go to heaven, okay? If you skip the 7 jewels in part 1, I won't say that again, but don't skip part 1. Now let me say this. The book is on the website. You can see on your screen. If you'd like to order the book, $21.95 is the retail price plus shipping. You can order it at prophecyinthenews.com, or you can call the number on your screen, and a lovely lady will answer the phone, and she'll take your information and get this book right out. By the way, Prophecy News has the books right now in stock. I know we've been backlogged, but we have them. The books are printed. The books are here in the ministries of Prophecy News. Call the number on your screen if you'd like to get the book, and they'd be glad to help you with that. Now let me give you a little bit about what's in the book. Let me share some things. Here's a quote that I put in the book. This is something that I put. This is my quote, and listen to what I'm going to say here. Listen to this. Every person in the last 2,000 years who has set a date for the return of the Lord has been wrong. Every person in the last 2,000 years who has set a date for the return of Jesus Christ has been wrong. Is that true? Yes, it's true. I mean, all the way back in Paul's day, all the way up to all the people, and even in recent years, the people that have set dates, even last year, 2017, everyone that has said that they've got a date, or at least a month that they think the Lord's coming, every single one of them, without a doubt, every single one of them has been wrong. That's true, isn't it? Let that sink in next time somebody tells you they know the day of the rapture. You remember what I just said. For 2,000 years, every single person has been wrong. Now quit setting dates. Quit thinking you got it figured out. The Lord intended us to know the season of His return, but not the exact date. You are not going to figure this out. Now listen, I study this stuff. I eat, drink, and sleep this stuff. I've got some times and some dates in my mind. I'm not going to share them on TV with you. But I would never get dogmatic about this thing. There's just too many variables. My goodness, we don't even know what year this is. This isn't 2018 or 2019, whenever this program airs. We don't know what the date is. The calendars are so messed up, you can't trust the Hebrew calendar. Their calendar's missing a couple hundred years. Our calendar was not started right. They started the calendar at 4 years before Jesus. I joke about it. Jesus was born 4 years before Jesus, 4 BC. Yeah, it makes no sense, does it? The calendars are not right. You cannot trust anybody's calendar. So you're not going to figure this thing out. You know, we can speculate, and that's fine, but don't get into this date setting thing. In the book, there's in the first part of the book, there's something called the wedding jewels. I want to share with you. I'm just going to share a little bit of it. When a man proposes, remember there's 7 chapters at the beginning, 7 jewels that help you understand prophecy, so you can go on to the second part. One of those is called the wedding jewels. I think it's chapter 2. Wedding jewels. When a man proposes to a woman, he offers her a costly jewel. In many cultures, it is a diamond ring. My wife has a diamond ring. My daughter just got married. She's got a beautiful diamond ring. That's the culture here. It is a token of her high value to the man and becomes a treasured heirloom for both man and wife as the years of marriage progress. So too, we are offered jewels of prophetic significance in the wedding customs practiced in biblical times. Many of these truths are missed simply because of our ignorance of Jewish tradition. And by the way, we miss a lot of the Bible because us Gentiles, I joke, I say us gringos over here, us Gentiles, we miss a lot of our Bible because we don't understand, we haven't learned the customs of the Jews. And there's a lot that we miss because of that. By understanding Jewish customs, and the Jewish wedding in particular, a whole new foundation can be built for prophetic truth. These jewels have been a mystery to most of God's people, but they don't have to be anymore. Let me share a few things about the Jewish customs, about a man getting married in Bible days, and you'll find that these line up really perfect with the rapture. So let me give you a few of these here. By the way, Revelation 21:9, come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. The customs that revolve around the Jewish wedding are based upon biblical truths concerning Christ coming to claim his bride. And how sad it is that the Jews who practice these customs, most of them do not even understand the prophetic nature of the customs that they practice. Very sad. Let me give you a few of them. A step-by-step progress on how, I won't give you all of them, I'll just pick a few of these, but a step-by-step process of how a Jewish man obtained a bride in Bible days, according to Jewish customs. I want you to see how it coincides with Bible prophecy, Bible prophecy. Number one, a young man would offer to purchase his bride. That sounds funny, doesn't it? He offers to purchase her. Now that doesn't mean exactly what it sounds like. In other words, he brings a purchase price. Remember in the Western days, what would the young Indian brave do? He'd bring a gift to purchase that young woman, the young girl, the young Indian girl. He'd bring a horse, or he'd bring some deer meat. He'd bring a gift to the father to purchase the young girl. So we see this back in Genesis 24 with Rebekah. Remember, the servant leaves. He's going to get a bride for Isaac. He finds Rebekah watering the camels. You remember the story. He gives her bracelets and costly jewelry. It's kind of like a bride price. So he would make his offer to a young man would offer to marry the wife. He'd bring a bride price or a gift, whatever you want to say there. By the way, Rebekah, when she accepted, she trusted a person she had never seen. She had never seen Isaac. She didn't see a picture of him. She had never met him on the street. She knew nothing about him. She trusted a man she'd never met. Just like you and I, when we get saved, we trust somebody we've never met. We've never seen Jesus. And number two, she received a free gift. I got a free gift when I got saved, the gift of God's eternal life. She left her kingdom. Now, this kind of goes against the women's liberation movement that has been so destructive to our homes today. She left her kingdom for his kingdom. Remember, Rebekah? She went with the servant. She went all the way back and married a man she'd never seen. She left her home, her kingdom, and went to his kingdom. You and I, when we get saved, we begin the process of leaving this kingdom and getting into that kingdom. I'm not of this world. We're just passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. We're just passing through. I'm not of this world. I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. And that's true of you too if you're saved. And see the beautiful similarities, the figures here, the types. It was an act of her free will. She had to choose yes or no. Yes, I'll go, or no, I won't go. All right. Number two, a marriage is a contract would be given. A marriage contract. This contract spells out the conditions and the inheritance and the obligations of the marriage. And isn't that interesting? So where's our contract? Did we get a contract when we said I do to Jesus Christ? You better believe it. It's called the Bible. Hey, have you read that contract yet? You better get reading that. You know, God has some things in that he wants you to know about. There's an inheritance he wants you to know about. There's some obligations that he expects of his bride. And just like when you went to the marriage altar and your bride said, I do, you expect some things. You expect her to love you. You expect her to be submissive to you. You expect her to give herself only to you. It's a beautiful story, isn't it? And it's no different than the heavenly story. When I accept Christ as my Savior, there's some obligations that God expects of me. And so a marriage contract, let me just give a few more of these before we run out of time. When the bride accepted and received the purchase price, she became formally espoused or betrothed. She became engaged. There'd be no physical contact, but she is now engaged to be married. A marriage contract is written up. In fact, in Bible days, to break an engagement was to get divorced. That's how serious it was. No physical contact, but you were legally you were legally married, but just not physically until the wedding day. It was a pretty big deal. The engagement process was almost like being married. We're espoused to Christ, but we're not the bride until the trumpet sounds and the groom leaves heaven, comes in the clouds, and comes and snatches his bride away. Just like a young man would come in the middle of the night and get his bride and take her home and get married and live in his new house. The groom would go back after she accepts his hand in marriage. He says, I'll marry you. He goes back home to his father's house to prepare a bridal chamber, to prepare a house for her. Right out of John 14, right? I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself. Couple things about that. He leaves the purchase price with her, whatever the gift was, the ring. He leaves that with her. She's now legally engaged. It's almost like being married. The groom may be gone for a long time. It might be weeks. It might be months. It could be years. He's gone to build the house. When the house is ready, Dad will tell him, go get your bride. He promises to return for her. And Jesus has promised to return for you and I. The espoused bride, now here's our part. As he goes to prepare the house, what does the bride do? The espoused bride, the engaged woman, is to prepare herself for his return. You see, it's all about him. It's all about the groom. And she's to prepare herself, to make herself beautiful, to make herself lovely, to be pure, and to be ready for his return for her. It's in her marriage contract to do so. And it's in our marriage contract, the Bible, to prepare ourselves for him and to keep ourselves only for him. She is to purify herself and keep herself for only him. 2 Corinthians chapter 11. I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. She was to be ready and waiting to go with him at any moment. Only the father of the groom would know the date of their wedding. Isn't that true about the rapture? Well, that's all in the book. The 7 clocks are ticking. That's just one of the chapters in there. Come back next time, and we're going to share some exciting things with you. But friend, do you know the Lord? Are you ready to meet Jesus Christ? If the trumpet sound today and the groom got up and came into the clouds and came to your door to receive you as his new bride, are you ready to meet him? Are you ready to meet Jesus? Let me ask you this. Are you going to be ashamed if the trumpet sounds? Will you be ashamed when you stand in the presence of Jesus? Are you going to be found not pure, not living for him? I hope not. Friends, he's coming soon. Be ready. And by all means, keep looking up.